What's going on, guys? Wanted to do a quick review, not of the Blu-ray, of the DVD. I have yet to watch the Blu-ray features because every time I come home, the Blu-ray's taken. So, the DVD version, as far as I'm aware, the DVD that comes with this is the same that is a single release. I got this for 20 bucks at Target. Comes with Blu-ray, DVD, and the digital HD copy. And, first off, the movie. Spoilers for those who haven't seen it. I love episodes 1 to 6. I admit 1 to 3 have their huge faults. The machete cut. 4, 5, 2, 3, and 6 is, in my opinion, the definitive way to watch it. But when I say I love the prequels, you gotta remember, I was a child when they came out. It was my introduction to Star Wars. Then 4, 5, 6 came out. Well, I watched 4, 5, 6, and it was like mind blown. 4, 5, and 6 are obviously the superior movies over 1, 2, and 3, even with all the special effects. And my personal favorite out of all of them is Return of the Jedi. I know a lot of people are going to say, but Empire's so much better. It's not as much puppets. It's not as ridiculous. I don't care. I enjoyed 6 a lot more. I can't peg why. I'll have to watch it again, and next time I'll take notes going through. I gotta start doing that, because if I'm doing these, I have to come in with planned thing to say. Right now, I'm just ad-libbing, basically. But what does this have to do with episode 7? 1. When I saw episode 7 in theaters, I was quite jaded. I loved it. I thought it was perfect. I knew it had its faults, but I wouldn't have asked for anything different. Now that I'm watching it again, and the hype isn't there, it pretty much falls in line between the prequels and 4, 5, and 6. Now, with that being said, it had to introduce Star Wars to a whole new audience, so it couldn't rely so much on the previous movies. Even though they brought Han back, they brought Leia back, they brought Luke back, R2-D2, C-3PO, basically the staples of the Star Wars movies. And it still had to satisfy old school fans, which I think is why they kind of did a twist on A New Hope, where it was sort of rehashing it, but between the new characters, the new scenes, the amount of characterization in it, and there actually is quite a bit of characterization. It's not just set piece after set piece after set piece, like the Star Trek movie that J.J. Abrams did. Love that too. Hate it as a Star Trek movie for different reasons, but as its own thing, I'm very happy with it. But, everything they did new in this was fantastic. The extended world, the canon extended universe that they are working on for Star Wars, not including the legendary stuff, the old extended universe, they added so many little tidbits in that for those that have read the new books or paid attention to the new comics, it's little bits that you see and you're just like, you know? But at the same time, the little things they do throw in don't detract from anything. It's not like, oh, cameo, that pulled me out of the movie. Daniel Craig was a stormtrooper. You really, honestly couldn't tell. I didn't know that until I saw it online. I didn't realize Simon Pegg was the junk dealer. Finding that, I was like, oh, sweet. He had part in Star Trek. He had part in this. What else has he been in? You know, I really wish he'd go and do The Boys, but he said he's too old. Story-wise, pacing, it did feel a bit off now that I'm not as jaded or glued to the screen. This is my third time watching it, actually. And looking at it more objectively, There is a lot of stupid stuff, or a lot of stuff that you need to know, the extended universe or the added tidbits of story that's put elsewhere in order to really understand. Like R2D2 waking up to BB-8, that's explained elsewhere. As if memory serves, that's explained in J.J. Abrams' interview. And my question is, how are we supposed to know this? Another huge issue with this, and I do take issue with it because it felt so out of character, was after Han died and they landed, Rey ran up and hugged Leia, and Chewbacca barely acknowledged her. That's not Chewbacca. Chewbacca would have at minimum acknowledged her. Honestly, I feel like Chewbacca would have ran up, hugged her, and started crying with her. Chewbacca does have that emotional side. You can see in his reaction, especially when Han dies, just, I can't do the noise, honestly. I'm not even going to attempt it. But, he's an emotional character. There's no reason for him to walk by and ignore. Like, nothing happened. That bothered me. I will say, the Kylo Ren scene between Kylo and Han, where they're both holding the lightsaber, it does look more like Han pulled the switch for it over Kylo Ren doing it and basically freeing his son of him. It was still a very hard scene to watch, mostly because I do love Han Solo as a character that much. Like, it tugs at my heart, and it's just like, even though I know it's coming. The new Death Star thing, God, I don't... It's an interesting concept where they take a sun, but there's no talk of the repercussions of removing the sun from a solar system or anything orbiting around it getting destroyed. There's no talk of any consequence in that whatsoever. So that feels really off. I am very interested to see what Snoke is. I would be insanely happy if it was Darth Plagueis remaining hidden after Sidious supposedly killed him. And that is, as far as I'm aware, official canon. It's where they're headed is going to be the really interesting thing, and I feel like where they're headed is really going to cement the Force Awakens' place in the Star Wars series. Because we're seeing a whole lot of leading up and just like one little story that kind of gets concluded, but not really. I mean, the Death Star thing gets blown up, but Kylo Ren is still alive. He now has he should have a scar across his face, because Rey literally sliced up and hit him right here, and he fell back, then the planet split. It was still a lot of fun to watch again. I don't regret watching it again. I don't regret buying it. When I finally watch the Blu-ray and get to watch all the deleted scenes, and there's a lot of special features on the Blu-ray. We got The Story Awakens, which is cast members familiar and new reflect on the day they first came together to read the movie script, which I'm hoping they show bits of the first reading. It'll be interesting to see if they did anything different otherwise. Building BB-8, which I have looked a ton into because I would build one myself. I wanted to get the Target BB-8 that was just like absolutely monstrous. And I've been trying to get a hold of the Sphero BB-8, but I can't afford $150 off the bat. Another really cool thing they're going into is crafting creatures. So Star Wars Universe has almost always been filled with all sorts of creatures, aliens, and whatnot. Now I know the revised editions or the new editions with all the special effects added to 4, 5, and 6 that were the first ones I saw. No. I did see the original versions first, the old VHS that they released. Then I got the special editions. and they look so out of place. And this, what CGI they do use, feels fantastic. It doesn't look awful. It doesn't look like, oh, that's a green screen. Does go have a blueprint of a battle, which goes into the climactic fight between Rey and Kylo Ren. That'll definitely be an interesting watch. Goes into the symphony, and that's basically the composing of the music. And Star Wars has always been known for its epic music. I've been meaning to pick up the soundtrack. I should have bought it with this, but it was movie or soundtrack, and I chose movie over soundtrack because I want to watch it again. And as big a fan of Star Wars as I am, I can't sit back and listen to a soundtrack without having the movie go with it. It does get a little nostalgic listening to it, but if I'm not doing something else, that kind of music either puts me to sleep or relaxes me to a point where I don't want to do anything else, and I can't afford to do that. Fantastic music for this, also, by the way. Has visual magic of the Force, which goes into the visual effects, and then deleted scenes. I haven't watched the deleted scenes yet. I'm not gonna review any of that extra stuff until I actually see it. But DVD alone, I would say don't bother. It is bare bones. If you can afford the extra $5 to grab the Blu-ray, you get, for $5 more, the Blu-ray disc, special features disc, the DVD, and yes, the special features are on a separate disc, so there's a lot to them, and digital copy. So you're getting 3 bonus things for $5 more. There's no reason not to. Overall, the movie I would grade a 7 out of 10. Negatives being a couple stupid plot points, reliance on other knowledge, not just previous movies, but outside knowledge of the movies themselves for certain bits to make sense, like the R2-D2 thing, for example. And pacing, it just felt off. Certain moments felt really, really slow. Other moments were absolutely fantastic. The direction was great, the visual effects were great, the acting were great. This is a better than average movie, and as a Star Wars fan, I might be a little biased, but yes, 7 out of 10. Pretty much it.